Hey everyone, LG here again with another message. And today's going to be a little bit of kind of off the cuff. I got a pretty much an early start today at the gym, and then I just started getting all this information, all this downloads, and perspective of what I see, not only going to my life, but I don't know, as a I guess as a collective. And I guess this would be like kind of collective. If this resonates, it's going to resonate. If not, go ahead and go on the next video. But today I don't know sure exactly what the title is going to be, but it's more about leading with your self-worth. A lot of people don't really know exactly what that is. Sometimes they undercharge themselves or they don't get exactly what is meant for them is because they undervalue themselves. And then they complain about it later as they missed that opportunity or that chance or they got duped. But a lot of it had to do with how they entered that that campaign mission, you can say. So what I kind of want to say and share today is that you have to have that self huddle with yourself and really sit with yourself and really understand how to lead yourself. Not be codependent, not relying on someone, not having a guardian that is taking care of everything. No, you have to learn how to be self-reliant. Yes, there's going to be positions where you're going to delegate, you're going to maybe focus more on your strengths and then delegate your not so strong suits, as far as skills or things that as far as your abilities. That's understandable though, but you have to kind of test the limits as far as how you can be sufficient on your self resilient, not only on the physical side but internal. So you learn how to develop like resilient emotionally. Have that your emotional force field at 100% or close to it as much as possible. Because as you push yourself outside your comfort zone, as you put yourself in those areas of growth, regardless of what the outcome is, because everything is, I really believe is, we're we're always learning, we're relearning, we're not relearning, but we're remembering who we are. But the system, the rules, the things that are in place, yes, a lot of it's for good, but not so much for others. There's always loopholes for everything. But when you really look at things, we are the main character. And once you know how you operate, kind of like what's your manual? What are your attributes? What are your characteristics? If you were a video game character, or if you would set up your avatar or whatever, though, what are the qualities? What do you want it to look like? It's kind of creating like a vision board, but you're doing this in real life. It's not this whole fake it to make it. No, you're actually trying to, not trying, you're looking to become something. So you have to set a plan together. You have to put something on paper, on something, a visualization, draw it, do whatever, but you have to put it in the physical. You see what I'm saying? As we're creating it, right, within ourselves in the energetic field, right? Well, in order to play or put it together, we have to put it energetically in the field where we are. It could be connected with somebody. It could be going out of state. It can be connected. It can be going to an event. It can just be going to a network, and it can just getting outside your comfort zone. You know what I mean? Seeing, test it out. Because what I also learning too is that the more you learn your abilities, your talents, your skills, you educate yourself, the right information. And people are like, well, how do you know it's the right information? You kind of do and you kind of don't. It's like that gray area where you let us the information you like, for example, like me, I get drawn to information. Like I might have a dream, or I'll be at the gym and all of a sudden, depending on what I'm listening to or what what I'm seeing, I start putting together puzzle pieces and whatnot, and that's how I kind of lay out everything on how I do things and how I function. But at the same time, looking for ways of how to teach and share it with others. Now I might not have all the information because that's where that knowledge gap. Sometimes you just know the information, but you have to be able to like talk to people and not sound totally crazy. So that's where the learning curve comes in there, where like you have to start learning and educating yourself in certain areas to understand the information enough to convey it for someone to understand it or just pick up on that energetic field. Because sometimes you can get in the ballpark, and if you get with that someone that's on your Wi-Fi connection hotspot, like, oh, I get you, man. Like, no, I get it. I don't know exactly it either, but I get what you're saying. I feel you. We're both in the same realm or same field area, or at least same tune. But it comes time to where you have to put yourself out there and really testing these abilities. Like it wasn't until like I started listening to audiobooks, I started just learning a bunch of information, but it wasn't until I really started moving in those directions. Of course, it was the self-doubt, you know what I mean? Like, oh, do you know enough? Or, you know, whatever that you haven't really addressed or haven't even like I realized there was a lot of stuff I just didn't realize that I was doing because I was on autopilot. I was gone all the time. You know what I mean? I was always on the next thing, always moving. You know, sometimes you think you're busy and busy, sometimes busy doesn't mean productive. You know what I mean? You know, sometimes we put too much stuff on our plate just to fill things in there, but everything that we're doing, we're avoiding understanding ourselves, seeing how we need to fine tune. You know what I mean? Kind of like I got into working out. You know, pretty good. I really love enjoy now, but like I talk about in some of my other videos. I like the whole David Banner and Credible Ball concept where I mean, you got to understand that you're the operator, you know. So it's pretty cool because you get to, you know, customize your own settings. So I'm taking a look at myself as a vessel and really look at it. Okay, well, how do I want this ship, this vessel, this avatar, whatever you want to call it, this humanoid, you know, robot in flesh form. So, well, let me learn the functions. Then I realized there's a lot of biology, a lot of science, a lot of quantum. I mean, but the thing is that I realized it doesn't take you to be like an expert in those fields. I don't have to go to like 8 years to get my PhD. Like all this standardized system stuff, I realized that there's one technology and the internet and information, but your discernment and your wisdom and your intuition meter has to be pretty up there too, because you gotta understand there's a lot of information out there, but at the same time, there's a lot of information that can just spin you in these little ecosystem bubbles that you end up being kings in your own little world, but you lose the ability to connect with everybody. You know what I mean? I've been in those rooms too, where everyone's like in total la la land, and everyone's just positive vibe, sunshines and rainbows. But they lost the ability to connect with real people and problems and issues because they're thinking, let me just avoid and chase good vibes, and everything's gonna be hunky dory. And when things are not, they're the problem and not me. I've been in those situations too. So you got to really find I want to say like a balance, but more of like an understanding of your operating system, you know? And yeah, and if you're not techie savvy and technology and like the video game references or whatnot, though, you might be good at like maybe business, like SOPs, like standard operating procedures, you know? What's your standard operating procedures for yourself? You know, what are or if you're like in the mechanics or not in the mechanics, but like me, I deal with vehicles, my home vehicles more than military vehicles. But we always have these like before, during, and after procedures. You know, when we check out the vehicles. Well, then I started thinking, well, what's my before, after, and checks and services? You know, what are my preventive maintenance checks and services? I mean, what are my class one, class two, class three leaks? So like hold up. You know what I mean? Like we're a miss. Like for example, let me give you an example. Like you watch like the Olympics, right? And you got people that are good at shot put, you got people that are good at runners, you got people that are good at throwers, but look how specific they still stay in that lane. They stay in that lane enough to where they're the subject matter experts in that area. Now they might not know how anything to do with business. They might know the trivia questions and who hit number one on the music trend. You know what I mean? But it's a different type of skill. But if you think about this, what if we could be all as many, be more than one? That's what I started thinking. Like, well, I want to. I mean, I can be this and this and that, but I want to be like kind of like well rounded. You know what I mean? Like I want to have the muscular, I want to have the tone, I want to have the look, I want to have the lifestyle, but I also have to know that uh, I have to also do the inner work too, which everyone forgets about. People think, oh, it's just praying, it's just taking some time and eating healthy. Yeah, all that plays a factor, but no, I'm talking about some serious time with yourself, man. Like literally, like rewriting your storyline. Really getting putting those sleeves down and really getting the work in. And that's where I come in to help out. So we can shorten that, a little bit up there because that's what I had to do. I had to do a lot of rewiring, loops and cycles, and I had to learn what all that stuff was first. I didn't even know what that was. So once I started making the names and putting the metaphors and the symbolisms and everything I've been learning all together, things made more sense. So I guess I'm just gonna end it with this. I know I was kind of all over the place, but I'm hoping you're able to take something from it and apply it. If so, let me know. Um, yeah, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and we'll talk again. Have a good one.